Welcome. This series of 5 presentations was developed to educate families about recent updates to annotated evaluation and reevaluation report forms. While the law has not changed, changes were made to the annotated report forms in early 2016. Annotated forms are designed to provide notes for a better understanding of each section of the forms. Where can you find the handouts that accompany this presentation? On the PO website and on the patent website. On many slides, you will find a folder icon in the upper right-hand corner, which tells you the handouts that support the information on that slide. This is part 5, which focuses on the reevaluation process. We have divided the content into 5 parts of 15 to 30 minutes each. We recommend that the viewer watches the parts in order as the information builds from one to the next. The 5 parts of this series are listed on this slide. As you can see, Part 5, which is highlighted, reviews in depth the reevaluation report. Evaluation and reevaluation are the processes for gathering data to determine if a child needs special education, and if so, the types of programs and services needed. Throughout this presentation series, the word parent will refer to a parent or guardian. This is the final section of this series. This section reviews the special education reevaluation process and report that is generated. Once a child has an IEP, then periodic reevaluations are required and a reevaluation report is generated. There are many similarities between the evaluation report and the reevaluation report. In this session, we will review the details of the reevaluation process and the report that is generated. As a result of participating in this presentation, we hope that you will be able to describe when parents have to give consent for a reevaluation, identify reasons for conducting a reevaluation, describe reevaluation timelines, list the sections of the reevaluation report, and define how a parent can proceed if they disagree with the school team's conclusions or willingness to conduct a reevaluation. The sections of the reevaluation report are very similar to those in the evaluation report and include a summary of information reviewed and conclusions. However, an important difference is that a reevaluation may not require the collection of additional data. The IEP team determines whether additional data is needed, so that a reevaluation may consist of a review of existing data, such as homework, classroom tests, progress on IEP goals, or results of standardized tests, like DIBELS or reading assignment, PSSAs, or other achievement tests. If the IEP team has determined that additional data is needed, then the collection and analysis of new data, such as an assistive technology evaluation, a functional behavior assessment, or other additional academic testing or other assessments will be done. Remember, parent input into the reevaluation process is vital, even when the IEP team is only reviewing existing data. In the annotation regarding parent input, it is noted that information provided by the parent included in this section and taken into consideration as decisions regarding eligibility for special education and program design are made. The evaluation team can obtain information from parents in many ways. It can be collected from written responses, interviews, and other appropriate methods. The evaluation report also includes determination for specific learning disability if needed. Again, the first step in the reevaluation process is for the IEP team to review existing data and determine whether new data is needed. A review of existing data by the IEP team does not require the parent to sign a permission to reevaluate consent form because no new information is being collected. If the team proposes to collect new data, Then the parent must sign a consent form. Consent is when the parent agrees with the school to do a reevaluation, and their signature indicates that they understand the types of tests, assessments, and evaluations that will be given to the student specifically for the purposes of reevaluation. If the parent is not in agreement with the proposed types of testing or doesn't understand the testing, then they may request additional or different types of evaluations. The parent should let the school know that they don't agree and share their concerns, and the evaluation team may agree to make changes. Parents have a right to request a reevaluation. We suggest that a parent always make this request in writing. Whether a parent makes the request orally or in writing, the school district must respond. Within 10 calendar days after the request is made, the school district must provide a permission to reevaluate request form for the parent to complete. Once the written request is received, the process continues as was described in the previous slide.
Reevaluation must occur every 3 years for all students except for those students who have been identified with an intellectual disability. Students identified with an intellectual disability must be reevaluated every 2 years. There is a process for an IEP team to waive the need for completing a reevaluation if the school district and parent mutually agree. However, this is not an option for a student with an intellectual disability. The Annotated Reevaluation Report lists 5 reasons for conducting a reevaluation. Common reasons might be if the child's performance indicates a need, maybe the anniversary date is approaching, or requests by parents or local education agency, LEA, typically referred to as the school district. Other reasons might include the student moves from one LEA to another in Pennsylvania, or a student is transitioning from early intervention to school-age services. There may be some other reasons why the parent or the school might want to reevaluate that are not based on the timeline. They may include that a child is not making progress, changes in behavior are seen, or a child is making a transition. If interventions are no longer working or meeting the child's needs, a reevaluation can support the team to consider new services. For example, assistive technology might be something that will take place during this reevaluation. Children experience many important transitions in school, such as moving from early intervention to kindergarten, or moving to middle school. At times of transition, it is especially important that the IEP team accurately understands the child's strengths and needs so that the child can achieve meaningful educational progress in the new setting. A formal reevaluation is one way to gather and share current information. When preparing for a transition, it is particularly important that the team has access to current data and information. A reevaluation may be needed to help the team to create an IEP that is based on present level of academic and functional skills to best meet the child's needs. It is important to know that A, there are timelines for the process, and B, where you can find the information. The reevaluation must be completed and the report given to parents within 60 calendar days of the date that the parent provided written consent. So, for example, if a parent provides consent on May 1st, it is likely that the reevaluation will not be completed until the following school year, due to the fact that summer vacation is not included in the timeline. Remember, parents or the school district may request a reevaluation more frequently than the 2 or 3 year anniversary dates. The information in the reevaluation report is used to develop the next IEP for the student. Parents should review the report before the IEP meeting to make sure that they understand it, identify any questions to ask the school psychologist, and highlight important information that they may expect to see in the IEP. For example, if the reevaluation report notes that the student makes better progress if directions are given in small chunks, then that strategy should be included in the specially designed instruction on the IEP. It is important to understand that 60 days is calendar days except for summer break. Staff and in-service days are counted as part of the 60-day timeline, and the December holiday break is counted in the 60 days. When parents believe that a reevaluation is needed more often than once every 3 years, it is most often due to concerns about academic progress. It is not unreasonable for parents to know what their child's level of academic performance through formal testing by the team, as curriculum-based assessments may not answer all of a parent's questions once every 3 years, particularly in cases where their child has not made significant progress or meaningful progress. If a school district denies a request for formal reevaluation beyond a review of records, the parents should know exactly how things will proceed from that denial, which would include the issuing of a NOREP/prior written notice. School districts can deny a parent request for reevaluation. However, if the school district denies the request, the school districts must provide a Notice of Recommended Educational Placement, NOREP, or prior written notice. At this point, the parent might want to use their procedural safeguards in order to resolve the disagreement. Please be sure to visit the Peel website on the Rights Done Rights video series. In review, to be sure that you understand the highlights of this section, reevaluations must be conducted every 3 years or every 2 years for student with an intellectual disability. Reevaluations may be only a review of existing data or include new testing, assessments, or evaluations. Parents must give consent if new information is being collected during the reevaluation. And reevaluations may be conducted more frequently due to parent or school request. You have completed Part 5 of this series. This concludes the presentation, A Family's Guide to Understanding Annotated Evaluation and Reevaluation Reports.
Thank you for joining us for the Evaluation and Reevaluation presentation series. We hope you found the information valuable and informative. If you need individualized support for thinking about your child's situation, you can contact any of the Evaluation Workgroup partners, your local school district, the local task force on the right to education, or PATTN. A list of the partners and their contact information is included in a separate handout. Thank you.